Hi everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and first of all I'd like to say a big thanks to all the people who left lovely comments on my last video and to welcome all my new subscribers. Now today, for something different, I thought I'd do a little project share on the crochet and knitting projects that I've been working on over the past 4 or 5 months. I had a break from YouTube from about February until June, but I was working on an awful lot of craft projects, and the first thing I'm going to show you is a massive pile of crochet squares. Here we go. That I'm still making them. I've about 24 made, and they're all part of a community project here in Kilkenny in Ireland for making blankets for the homeless and for various shelters and nursing homes, etc. So I got involved, and what you have to do is make, that's crochet or knit, an 8-inch square in 100% acrylic. So I choose this pattern. You know, it starts off with a circle, looks like a flower, and you work out from there, you work into an 8-inch square. Now I won't go through everything, but as you can see, I'm doing mainly autumn colours because the squares aren't due to be handed into the collection point until I think it's the first week in July, but that'll probably run a bit later. You know how these things go. So if anybody would like me to do a tutorial on how to do this pattern, just leave a note in the comments and I will do one and I will inflict it on you. But if you make granny, it's basically, as I said, a flower converted into a granny square. I couldn't do a whole granny square, an 8-inch granny square after square after square. I would just go absolutely crazy. But there you are. That's some of them. I have them all in a box here. Now, as I said, if you want me to do a tutorial on how to do it, feel free to ask. Another thing I did was I had a lot of sock yarn left over from projects, and I decided I would make, excuse my voice, I would make a shawl. Now I'm still working on it, but you can see, I'll leave a link to where you can get the shawl pattern in the description box. It's a free pattern. It's quite easy. Now, it's supposed to take 400 yards of yarn, which if you have a big ball of sock yarn, that's what you'll get. And you do it with a 4 or 4.5 millimeter needle. And then when it's finished, you're supposed to wash it and pin it out. And it's supposed to increase to 2 or 3 times its size. Now, I haven't it finished yet, and I'll keep you informed of the progress. But I have my doubts about whether it's going to really grow that much. I might have to get another ball and keep going with it. Then, well, this was supposed to be for my sister-in-law's 70th birthday. Or well, for Mr. Snippet's sister-in-law's 70th birthday, but I mean, I get landed with the present making. But I had a look at it and I said, no, I don't know, would she really like those colours, but never mind. So we'll see. I mean, her birthday is long gone now, but that's how it goes. And then I'm also working on this thing here. This is the front of what might be a cardigan or a top for myself. And if you look at it, you'll see it's all worked from the centre. This is the centre front, and it's worked from the centre out, which is unusual. And I wanted to try this unusual way of making clothes. Now this yarn I'm using, just a minute till I get the ball. It's Stylecraft Regatta, and it's mainly, what is it? It's mainly cotton with polyamide and polyester elastane, whatever that is when it's at home, but mainly cotton. But it still feels fairly heavy. I'm undecided whether to put short sleeves or long sleeves on it. I think I'll sew it up when I have the front and back done, or the 2 fronts and the back done, and then I'll see how it feels. I mean, if it's heavy, I might just turn it into a winter cardigan. But the back is also done in an unusual way. Let me show you here. Don't know if you see the line of purple. That's the start. That's your starting chain. And you work out from both sides. and I got this pattern from one of the independent designers on Instagram. Now, if you're on Instagram, you'll probably have seen that there's a lot of people selling crochet and knitting patterns on it, and they're independent designers, which means they're not working for any of the big companies like Stylecraft or King Cole. And while their patterns may be dearer, they are small businesses. And I find when you buy a pattern from one of these independent designers, you get up to 10 to 20 pages of photographs or instructions. Whereas when you buy, say, a Stylecraft pattern, you get maybe 3 or 4 pages of pattern if you're lucky, and you just get a cover photograph of the article when it's made up. Also, you can contact the designer. So I'm going to leave the names of some of these independent designers in the description box if any of you feel like knitting or crocheting some summer tops, because that's what most of them are producing at the moment. So if you feel like supporting them, most of them are based in the UK, but you know, if you're into knitting or crocheting, you know what I'm talking about. Now, I'm going to have to move you for the next bit. I made 2 long-sleeved jumpers from one was a pattern I bought on Etsy, and the other one was a knit along. I don't normally knit, but when I saw that there was a knit along being organised by a lady who sells wool here in Ireland, and there was the jumper was done in a different way. It was knitted from the top down, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Just a minute. I'll have to move you because I have the jumper hanging up. Here we go. I hope the light is okay and that you can see it. This is it. You start at the top using a circular needle and you knit down. And it was to be done in Aran weight wool. Now I finished it, and I'm glad I finished it, and it's not too bad on. The neck is a bit low. Up here. The neck is quite low, and you see it's the same. The back is the same as the front basically, because you're just knitting round and round in circles, and the body turned out a bit big, but it doesn't matter. It's a sloppy jumper, and I will know better the next time. Also, you do the body on a big circular needle, but then you have to switch to double pointed needles for the sleeves. Anyway, the colours are kind of autumny. I had the yarn, I just said I'd use it. And the girl who was actually leading the knit along, she really knew her stuff, and she had done the pattern about 3 or 4 times before. So she knew where people were going to get into difficulties, and she did individual little videos to help them out, and she did videos of each section of the knit along. So if any of you are interested in taking up knitting or re-entering the world of yarn crafts, a knit along or a crochet along is a nice way to do it. Now, the next thing was an Etsy pattern, and while it looks like a nice lacy jumper, it took me ages to do and it nearly killed me. It was the slowest stitch ever. I wouldn't recommend it, and it needs a wash, but it looks okay on, which is sort of the main thing. And there again, it was done in yarn that I had for years, and I had lots of wool left over even after doing these 2, and I gave a friend of mine about 3 balls of the stripy stuff, which is yarn and colours yarn. Now I'll put the name in the description box as well, and I forget what that yarn was, but it was a double knitting cotton. Now the big project. I did another one of those colourful shawls. Now the designer of these shawls is a lady called, well, she calls her business Adindas World. There again, I leave her name in the description box, but I made this for a friend of mine, and this is the big project. Now, don't mind the dirt of the place, but it's a big oval shawl, and I made it for a friend of mine. Now she won't be using it this weather, but I think you can see there's 17 flowers around the base of it, and it's done. You start up here, and it's all done in single crochet. You start at the top and you work around it's a half oval, and you work round and round and change colour, and then you add a lot of surface decoration like These stripes here are all added later. This is pom-pom yarn that's crocheted in later. It's held in by single crochet in plain, you know, in a plain yarn. This is done in, it's all done in Aran weight apart from some of the flowers. And she said she wanted a big shawl to wrap herself up in while she's watching TV. But there's a little cluster of flowers. So it was a huge project, and it actually hurt my elbow to do it. And I'm still getting twinges, but never mind. And then you add the flowers and this green edging. So once again, it's actually very easy to do. You make a flat semi-oval base and you add whatever you like to add. That's basically it. And I'm looking at this lady's pattern. This is how they're all done. I've done another one. I think I've shown photos of it on Instagram and on my Facebook page. But there again, I will leave some of the links and the contact details in the description box. You wouldn't sell these type of shawls because they take so much work and effort. I don't know what you'd ask for them. You couldn't really. It almost has your DNA in it when you're finished. So thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I hope I haven't bored you rambling on and on about my projects, but I do videos kind of to keep a record of what I do and to sort of motivate myself to go a bit further. So I hope you're all enjoying the warm weather and staying safe and staying sane. Mind yourselves. Bye.